Hey guys, so today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question is, Frederick, how do I get a internship at a company? So let's get into it. Well, this is a very tricky question because the way that the culture around internships within IT is going to be very different from company to company. So all I can really give you here is, well, it's the way that I see most commonly these internships kind of work, at least in my region of the world. So the way it usually works is that an internship is considered under one very specific circumstance from a company, and that is when the internship in question is based on a project that is going to bring some type of meaningful business value to the company at almost no risk, no cost, no nothing. And it doesn't require pretty much a lot more than the odd meeting between the intern and whoever is the stakeholder with almost no supervision. That's pretty much what it is. The mindset is very similar to, hey, it's just free money, or it's free work, or it's free labor with some type of value. That is usually how it goes. Now, as an intern, I mean, you can, of course, become an intern without having this concrete project, but the way that it usually works, at least from what I can see, is that a company will consider you for a master thesis, and the thing that usually dictates whether or not you get a master thesis position within a company is the topic of your master's. So if you, as an example, if you are looking to make a master thesis, like if you're selecting a thesis topic, having something that is highly attractive in the business world is a very good bet. In other words, it's kind of like a popularity contest. If you come into a company, if you pitch to a company that, yeah, you're making a master thesis that's going to be oriented around machine learning and how that correlates to some type of report like business value, or like how it corresponds to understanding users or understanding customers, things of this nature, people will lose their shit over that. Usually, a lot of because it's the sort of thing that the sales department and the product owners and this insight into their product, that's the sort of stuff that they want to have. It's the sort of stuff they pay a lot of money for, like analytics and all that stuff. They pay a lot of money for this. Usually it's suboptimal in comparison to what they want it to be. They want more, but they have this problem, and that is that we developers, we IT people, we are usually completely booked for every single week. All the time we're booked doing something that is directly related to something that is considered to be more important than these analytics. Unless a business person can make a sale that, oh yeah, we really need insights into this, I have these questions and I need to be able to figure out how this works, and the only in order to make my sale. If you can make, a salesperson, that's what they do, right? They sell things, and if they can sell it to the CEO or the CTO that, hey, I need some developer capacity to do this, then it might happen. Usually it doesn't. So if you as an intern or as a college student can come in and say that, hey, I have this thing here, I will build you a separate system, or like it's something that is going to provide this sort of insight, they're gonna jump at that opportunity usually, because I mean, it's no low risk. They don't have to train you. They basically just have to give you a desk and access to stuff. It's very low investment for them, and usually, I mean, if you produce something at the end of the day, that's going to be very valuable to them. If we're, however, talking about not necessarily being if you're not doing a master thesis, you're just going to be an intern of some sort, that is going to be a very tricky sell, because it works in a very similar way to, I mean, if your goal is to, all right, I'm going to produce this thesis, the benefit of this is that you have a really valid reason as to being there, and you can build something that produces value, and that gives you the opportunity to show off your skills. And that's I mean, if your ultimate goal is to get hired by that company, that is the thing that you're there to do. You're there to show your skills. But the problem is that very few companies will see you as well, because if they're hiring somebody, they know from day one that this person is going to be in the company. It's a different type of investment that they are making. If you're hiring somebody, you know that this person, well, ideally this person is going to stay around, right? It's going to stick around. So you want to invest in them in a different way. And the criteria for investing in such a person is going to be a lot higher. I mean, if you think that, being an intern, like the requirements on you is going to be a lot lower than being, actually being hired, because then they're going to switch on their, like, I don't know, recruitment radar or something like that, or risk analysis radar. And in order for you to, get an internship that may, or like, depending on if it's going to be tied to a master's thesis, or if you just want to be an intern without, you're not actually looking to do a master's, you will have to approach the problem in a very similar way, because there's not that many companies. I mean, there are companies who are looking for thesis students or for interns, but usually you should be a little bit careful with that as well, because if they are actively looking for interns, it may or may not be a really shitty position. They might, because this is what it is about. It's free labor. I've been in situations where I unfortunately worked for a company that really did that. They completely exploited people, and it's not a great situation to be in. It has a relevancy to a point, but be a little bit careful with it. But if you're going to make a sell, and if you find a company who you really like, you want to do an internship at, the best thing that you can do is to go a very similar route to what you would do if you wanted to get hired. You need to first and foremost make a good business case. You need to sell the idea that you are, like, enough to be able to be fairly self-reliant, and you are likely to be able to produce something of value. You don't, and that's the thing, you don't necessarily need to work on the main product. You don't need all that training that they are going to invest into somebody they're hiring full time. You are going to start at the outskirts of things, and this is a very similar thing to how I train my junior developers. I'm training a new recruit today, or I've started with training her today. She's completely fresh off the boat, like as green as you can possibly imagine. And we go through this process in a very similar way to how you should do if you want to be an intern. We put you at the outskirt of the product. We give you something that is like going to produce some type of relevant business value for the company. And as you mature and you feel more and more confident, you get to work on more and more meaningful tasks until you get to a point where, hey, you're actually just one of the other people working here and you can be trusted with the most critical parts of the system. But we have to start somewhere. And the safest place, which requires the lowest risk, like it's the lowest investment from the company, is to put you on the outskirts. So as an intern, you're not going to know anything about the business, you're not going to know anything about the system, and without training, you won't be able to work on the main product. But what you can, as I said, do is to basically sell the idea that you can actually add value to the company by creating something from scratch, like as I said, an analytics tool or something like that, or enhance something that requires very little in terms of investment from the developers who are already working there. And that's something that a lot of business people are very happy to hear, because if they can have somebody who even knows a little bit more coding than they do, they can actually get a lot of value from that. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you are aiming to be an intern somewhere, make sure that your topic for like your master thesis or the thing that you're actually going to do at that company is something that is relevant to the business people, like the people working in sales, people working like the non-developers, if you will, because that's a very likely easy sell for you to make, because a lot of the business people in IT, they want to have all these nice to have things that will make their job easier, and they will gain more insight and be able to do more make more sales. And they want technical people to help them with that, but they can't find the capacity because the programmers who are already working at that company are already booked for the most part. So if you can come in there, even as a fairly junior profile, and as long as you're fairly self-reliant, you can actually make a fairly strong business case. It's how you sell yourself, basically, for adding some type of value, usually in the ballpark of A/B testing, helping out with A/B testing, or helping out with business analytics, understanding metrics, and creating data pipelines and things of this nature. These are very easy sells as an intern. And the beauty about it is that since you're on the very outskirts of the product, you're not asking to get into the really nitty-gritty details of the main system immediately. it's a very low risk investment from the company, and that will help you make that sale. Just be careful that you don't like end up as an intern basically doing shit work for a company who just exploits you and has no interest in actually hiring you. So yeah, just be careful about that part. Have a great day.